Chapter begins and Luffy shouts, "No way in hell! This is a lie! He would never kill Vivi's dad! Sabo wouldn't do something like this in a million years!" Robin says, "I am with you there. The Revolutionary Army is against the world nobles, not regular kings." News spreads around. Revolutionary Army declares war on celestial dragons. King Cobra of Arabasta assassinated by Revolutionary Chief of Staff, Sabo. His daughter, Princess Vivi, is missing. Luffy orders, "Set course for Arabasta, right now." Zoro says, "Like I have been saying, what good is that gonna do? The man's dead. Besides, Vivi was last seen at Mary Joie's." Luffy says, "Then let's go there." Someone was hiding and he says, "Are we heading to Mary Joie's? Not good. Damn it, it's too muffled to hear." Zoro angrily says, "You moron! That's the den of the enemy. You want to take on Navy HQ." Luffy angrily replies, "Damn straight. What's wrong, Zoro? You chicken?" Zoro says, "Calm down. I'm just saying we don't have any leads." Sanji was crying and saying, "Where are you, Vivi-chan? How are you feeling? Please be safe." Chopper got shocked and said, "Vivi's dad is dead? But he was so nice, even to us pirates." Usopp adds, "Yeah, he was the best king around." Name is sad and says, "I am torn between worrying about Vivi and worrying about how she's taking all this." Jinbei says, "Seems like this year's reverie was quite tumultuous." Frankie says, "This is the same bro we met in Dressrosa, right?" Brooke says, "I have never known anyone to be discontent with the way Arabasta is ruled." Nami says, "I can't take any more. Vivi, where are you?" Luffy adds, "That does it. We are gonna save her." Chopper adds, "Let's do it." Angry Zoro says, "All of you, knock it off." Then he tells Luffy, "Luffy, remember what you said about Ace that one time?" Luffy remembers him saying, "Ace has his own adventures," and feels regretting. Zoro continues, "You trusted him to make his own way up until the point where he actually needed help. So why underestimate Vivi? She can hold her own. If the opportunity presents itself, we can pitch in then. But in the meantime, have faith and quit bellyaching." Luffy angrily says, "You can't stop us from worrying." Luffy was angry, and he continues saying, "You are an Oni, no an Onigashima." Nami adds, "You are a green Kaido." Chopper adds, "A green mom." Sanji adds, "Crappy mosshead." Zoro tells them to shut up. Don't forget to subscribe our second channel for manga videos like Boruto, Solo Leveling, and One Punch Man. Your subscription motivates us to keep creating awesome content. Robin says, "There were a lot of developments while we were in Wano." Nami adds, "And things seem to be escalating fast." Robin continues, "The abolishment of the warlords drove the elite pirates back to the seas. As a result, the Cross Guild was founded, and Buggy the bombastic clown became an emperor." Luffy says, "There has to be some mix-up." Robin says, "Luffy, there are other familiar names. Would you like to hear the news about them too?" Luffy says, "Nah, I'll leave it up to you. Just tell me if there's anything big to keep an eye on." Robin smiles and says, "Okay, I'll do that. I wouldn't want to overload you with information." Luffy lies on the ground and says, "Sabo's incident. He had a real upbringing. He just wants to make sure no one else has their freedoms taken the way he did." Then he remembers Sabo's dream, and Sabo says, "I want to see the world and write a book about it." Luffy smiles and says, "Okay, my turn. I am gonna..." Then Luffy, lying on the ground, continues, "The three of us swore an oath, me, him, and Ace." Then he tells them about his real dream, and everyone gets shocked. Jinbei says, "What did you just say?" Nami said, "What?" Brooke cries and laughs and says, "You are too much." Usopp says, "Are you serious?" Frankie laughs and says, "That sounds great, it's perfect." Sanji also laughs. "Chopper, I think someone needs to check his head." Robin is totally confused, and Chopper is fully excited. Usopp says, "Come on, there's no way anyone can do that." Luffy says, "But I'll have a shot if I become the king of the pirates." Usopp says, "I don't even know how you come up with this stuff." Luffy says, "I have never mentioned this to any one of you before." Usopp says, "Nope, but it wouldn't have made much of a difference since it's impossible." Luffy says, "That means I only told Shanks, Ace, Sabo, and I guess that's it." Robin questions, "Oh, how did they react?" Luffy smiles and says, They all laughed. Oh, and Shanks had some tears rolling down his face. Then Luffy, lying on the ground, smiles and says, "That's what I want at the end of my dream." Jinbei laughs and says, "Well, I joined this crew willingly, so I can't exactly say it's not my problem. I sure picked a troublesome captain." Chopper is excited and says, "That's awesome, Luffy. Your dream's amazing." Name smiles and says, "It sure sounds like you." Frankie adds, "Since you gotta be the pirate king to even make that possible, we'd better find that last road poneglyph. Then it's off to Laughtail." Robin says, "You make it sound so easy, Frankie. It's been a long time since that poneglyph was last seen. We don't even have a clue where to look." The scene shifts to the Navy HQ in the New World. A Navy man says, "We have intercepted a transmission. It's from Flame Emperor Sabo to the Queendom." Another Navy man says, "Where is it coming from? We have to pinpoint the origin. He is not using a white transponder snail to jam his call. He must be desperate. I doubt he will speak for long." Then the scene shifts and one of the elders says, "We have traced his position." Emu replies, "Where is he? Lulusha Kingdom." The elders are shocked as Emu asks them about kingdoms. Emu continues, "That's one of the 8 nations that rebelled a few days ago. It would be an ideal place for Sabo to seek refuge." Elders, as they accept Emu's decision, say, "I see, he is an unlucky man. No, this is fate." The scene shifts to the Queendom, and Sabo says, "Sorry, I know I have caused you all a lot of trouble." Koala says, "We are so glad to hear you are safe." Sabo continues, "Dragon-san, I wasn't the one who killed King Cobra." Captain Morley says, "Of course not. I perished the thought. I totally had faith in you. We knew you were innocent, Sabo-kun." Sabo continues, "Listen, when I was in Mary Joaz, I saw something unbelievable." The scene shows Lulusha Kingdom, and someone says, "The sky's getting dark. Are those clouds? It's almost like there's something huge up there." The king of Lulusha says, "You heathens will regret this. When Navy HQ gets word of this treason, you will all be impaled." The princess says, "Make sure they leave a few for me, Papa. I will never forgive these dirty people." One of the guards says, "Your Majesty, no, I mean Lord Seki, please just confess to your crimes. We don't want to kill you." Sabo continues, "It happened in the throne room at Pangaea Castle. I thought that there was no king of the world, but the empty throne wasn't empty. I saw, as far as the surveillance division is concerned, no one detected anything abnormal today. No information was intercepted. As for Lulusha, that country never existed." And then we see some destructive thing that came from black clouds and completely destroyed the whole kingdom of Lulusha. Koala says, "We have reports of seaquakes on the southeastern shore. Beware of tsunamis." A few days later, a heavy tsunami approaches, and Thousand Sunny gets caught in it. Jinbei says, "Furl the sails. The wind is too strong." Luffy says, "Are we close to making land, Nami?" Nami says, "It feels like we have entered an island's climate zone." Robin says, "Oh, aren't you looking dashing, Chopper?" Chopper, feeling happy, says, "Tama gave me this hat to shield me from the snow." Luffy sees something and says, "Hey, Nami, what in the world is that?" Then we see a giant and destructive eddy current. Nami says, "What is that thing? It's like a giant warm eddy, an eddy current, but it's going upwards?" Brook says, "It must mean a mass of warm water is being forced up at this point from somewhere. It looks like an updraft." Nami says, "We have to run, Jinbei. We will be swallowed up." Jinbei says, "Leave it to me." Luffy sees something and says, "Wait, somebody's trapped in the water." Nami says, "For real? How could anyone be alive in there? Is it a mermaid?" Sanji says, "No, he's right. I can definitely hear a lady in distress." Nami says, "Are you guys serious? Even if someone's in there, what are we supposed to do?" Zoro stands up and says, "I will cut it." Sanji said, "You better not leave a scratch on the lady." Zoro uses his technique, one sword style, bird dance. The slash from his sword cuts through the water and splits it into 2 pieces. Chopper stands up and says, "Hey guys, what's all the commotion? Amagasa Hat Chopper here, reporting for duty." But the wind is strong, and he falls down and starts flying. Usopp gets shocked and says, "Chopper, why did you come out?" Luffy catches Chopper, but they both get flown away. Usopp is terrified and shocked. He sees something and shoots towards it. Suddenly, they see a kid who comes out of the water. In shock, Usopp says, "A kid popped out." And it was none other than one of the worst generation jewelry Bonnie with 320 million berries. And the chapter ends.